Yeah, Jackie, the incumbent DA, Larry Krasner, made several jabs trying to paint his challenger, Carlos Vega, as a liar. Vega tried to paint Krasner as ineffective. The one-hour head-to-head debate showcased what's at stake for criminal justice in Philadelphia.
I'm running on my record.
Incumbent DA Larry Krasner started the debate touting his accomplishments. The only DA debate ahead of the primary focused on a wide range of issues, from gun violence to racism, victim rights, and immigration.
It's community of colors that are suffering the most with lack of opportunity, and what we have to do is we had to think outside the box.
Challenger Carlos Vega proposed community outreach, which Krasner said he's already doing.
No family wants to hear, my child is dead and that man got a long sentence. What they want to hear is my child was never shot.
Vega, who was a city prosecutor and fired by Larry Krasner in 2018, says he'll have an open-door policy with victims' families.
And make them aware of every step of the case and come to every important listing, which Mr. Krasner has not done.
Krasner said he has, and repeatedly throughout the debate questioned Vega's honesty.
Once again, we have the usual lasagna of lies. He basically lays out one untruth, and then he moves on to the next.
When asked about a potential second term, Krasner said he hired criminologists to study and improve policies and will continue to hold police accountable. He is not a favorite of the Philly FOP, which has been fundraising for Vega.
We know exactly who my opponent is going to serve. We know exactly who he is serving right now.
Vega says, number one, he'll hold officers accountable.
Second, I want body cams and a dash cam in every police car. Third, I want the community to be engaged with the police. Tell them, what are you doing right? What are you doing wrong?
When Krasner was asked what he would do differently in the next term,
I would have done more retail politics. I would have spent more time, calling members of council to say, how are your kids doing? How's your cat?
After the debate, Krasner left, declining to stop for questions. Vega did, saying he's motivated for May 18th and beyond.
I have broken barriers. I was the first Latino in the homicide unit in not only the city but the entire state. But here he paints me, and it's the arrogance of someone out of touch to say who I am.
It was quite a debate, but the decision comes down to the voters, and it is a closed primary here in Philadelphia, meaning only registered Democrats can vote between Krasner and Vega this month. And new numbers from the city show people are switching parties. More than 6,200 Republicans have switched to Democrat ahead of this primary. By comparison, the state says fewer than 1,000 switched from Democrat to Republican. Registered Democrats, by the way, still outnumber Republicans in the city by nearly 8-1. Jackie.
Matt, thank you. And let's bring in NBC10 political reporter Lauren Mayk, who is a panelist asking questions in tonight's debate. Lauren, let's talk about what viewers did not see, but what we both witnessed when the debate wrapped. The animosity between these two men was crystal clear.
Yeah, Jacqueline, this happened as DA Krasner was taking off his mic. And what we saw was Carlos Vega sort of poking at Krasner repeatedly. He was instigating this. Vega saying at one point that he was living in Krasner's head. Now, during all of this, Krasner was getting ready to leave. Myself and the other panelists were still standing at our podiums. Jacqueline, you were in the room. So were several other people from NBC10 and KYW News Radio. And during the debate, they tossed accusations at each other. Krasner calling Vega a liar. Vega blaming Krasner for violence in the city. But this afterwards, this was personal. These men know each other. Krasner fired Vega and a bunch of other people when he took office. At one point, Vega said to Krasner, "I'm your biggest nightmare. You made a mistake a long time ago," though he wasn't specific about what he was referring to. Now, there was also a moment when Vega asked Krasner if he had security downstairs and asked if he would give him a ride home. Krasner responded that Vega needed to walk. Well, now, after all of this, Krasner did not stop to talk to reporters on his way out, but Vega did, as Matt just mentioned, and one of our colleagues from KYW asked Vega about what happened.
But you told him you were living in his head.
Well, yes, I am, because the rage he has, I am living rent-free in his head. Okay? That's what I'm saying. He thinks about me constantly.
Now, at the end of all of this, Carlos Vega seemed to try to lighten the mood and ask Krasner if he wanted to hug it out, which he did not. And Jacqueline, they sort of held some of this in during the debate, but afterwards it all spilled out.
A boiling point. And Lauren, that tension was apparent even before the cameras started rolling tonight. Not a word between those candidates for about 10 minutes as they stood next to each other at the podium waiting for the debate to begin. Of course, we'll learn what voters thought on May 18th. Thank you for your work tonight, Lauren.